If I had more time to think about what I was doing, I probably would have been more scared. For a film to get like written, financed, pre-production and shot in like 3 or 4 months is like unheard of. I realized that I was incapable of like not being an insane person.
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Instagram channel of Filmfest München. This is gonna be a Und Du So format in English.
Yeah. We call it What's Up, and we have a marvelous guest of one of the key films from upcoming 40th Film Fest, Rotting in the Sun, with us. It's Jordan Firstman. Great to have you.
Hi, thank you guys for having me.
So since this is one of our Instagram formats and we're trying to be like super spontaneous, like where are we meeting you today? Like what's up? Where are you right now?
What's up with me? I am in Provincetown, Massachusetts. Do you guys know where that is?
Sort of, but maybe you can tell us a little where it is and what you're actually doing there.
I want to hear where geographically in your mind is Provincetown, Massachusetts?
In the US, obviously.
Like, would you say instinctually it's East Coast, West Coast? Just go for it.
I would say instinctually that John Waters has a house there.
Oh, wow, okay. No one told you that? That's just your instinct?
I don't know how I came
He's
up with
just such a smart guy. I don't know where he knew that from.
This is good for you to know. This is good for you to know if someone asks you where. East Coast above New York, and you can like take a ferry to get there. It's on a cape. So it's a very pretty beachy, duney town with cute houses.
Speaking of houses and special houses, one thing we researched before was, of course, the great Architectural Digest article about your house. And at some moment, we hoped we would have this interview when you were not in Provincetown. So we just wanted to ask you, what was your latest architectural or design addition to your house?
Yeah, so for those watching, I had a completely fur bedroom. And everything in my house was very like sleazy 80s club. And over the course of 3 years, you know, some people came to visit. I had some parties, if you will. It became like a little hot spot during like post-COVID, and the place was just ransacked. And the fur had seen way better days. Liquids you could never imagine were embedded in that fur. And so we needed to do a little revamp, and I was just like sick of like living in a club during the day. And so I was like, okay, I want it to be like super simple now. So I got rid of everything. And then through like the next design process, I realized that I was incapable of like not being an insane person. And so now it's just like a different form of insane person, when I really wanted it to be like so nothing and like mid-century and normal. And then like it's like step by step, I'd be like, I want like red curtains in the whole living room and a red carpet and the whole bedroom to be purple velvet now. And I'm like, I couldn't just make it normal. So I learned something about myself in the process. But yeah, the living room's very like David Lynch with the red curtains everywhere. It'll be a vibe.
Nice. And I mean, speaking about houses, in Rotting in the Sun, a house, or let's say a sort of like home, plays a huge role as well. So maybe without telling too much about the film, maybe you can tell us a little bit about that house that you're going to be visiting in the film as well.
Yeah, well, so a lot of the film is based on reality, and that is the house Sebastian was living in for like 2 years. He just moved. But his friend Matteo, who is in the film, played by Matteo, owns that house. So like all the stuff that's in the film is actually real in real life. And a big like inspiration for why he started making the film was the construction of this house. Like his like room and his studio were not touched, but everything else in the building was under construction for 2 years, the entire time he lived there. So just the sounds of construction, especially in Mexico City, like they're very aggressive, and it just started to make him go crazy. And so a big part of why he was making the film was to just like you know, get back at the craziness and kind of just like use these sounds and like you know, in the film, as you've seen, like there's not really a score, but the construction noise and the sounds of Mexico City kind of make the score. And yeah, it's all real. And it was very, I had been to his house, you know, a bunch of times while like in the writing process and all that. And so to then shoot there was really trippy. And then when I would go back, like whatever, a year after we started shooting, that was even like, I couldn't be there. It was like too traumatic, like so much, you know, I had to go to so many places in that apartment, that it was just, yeah, it was definitely weird going back, and I can't imagine what it was like for him to have to live there after we shot there for 30 days.
Absolutely. I mean, maybe you can tell us a little bit, how did you get on board? Because I mean, it is sort of like an auto-fictional film, one could say, in a way.
Yeah.
So how did you come on board?
Well, again, very, very similar to the movie, but I had seen Sebastian's work, and I definitely revered him. I kind of like I already had like a complicated relationship with him. Like I loved his work, but like I like saw him in a Q&A and I thought he was like super pretentious. I was probably jealous of him. And so I was in Mexico City kind of like running away from all my problems, as many Americans do in Mexico. And I was hooking up with this guy, and he had a super like cynical sense of humor, and I hadn't thought about Sebastian in like years, probably since like he made Nasty Baby. And he came to my mind. I was like, I think you would really like this movie, Crystal Fairy and the Magic Cactus, to the guy I was hooking up with. And we watch it, and he really liked it. And I thought Sebastian lived in New York. I didn't know he had moved to Mexico City. And then so the next morning, the guy goes to walk his dog, and he's like, meet me at Plaza Rio de Janeiro. And I go, he picks up his dog, I go meet him, and he's at the plaza flirting with Sebastian. Like the like the morning after. And so I go, and I'm like, oh my God, I don't want him to know that I just showed him his movie, or that I even know who he is, because of my weird, like, psychology. And so I'm like trying to not let it come up that he's a filmmaker. And then so it would be like, what did you make? Oh my God, we watched that last night. So I like played it cool, and at the end I was like, oh, I think maybe like we met through like Alia Shawkat, whatever. And then we go, and then we ended up having like a dinner a couple days later in Mexico. And even then we didn't like super like love each other that much. Like it wasn't like an instant like creative melding of the minds. He thought I was annoying, and I thought he was like like too cool for school, whatever. And then like 2 months go by, and he calls me, and he's like, hey dude, like I just watched your Instagram, and like some of it's funny, but like some of it's like really embarrassing, and like so I'm making a movie, and I want you to be in it, and I want you to make fun of yourself. And I was like, yeah, this sounds great. Let's do it. And kind of the rest is history.
What 30 days of like, I mean, when we saw it in Sundance, we were like, wow, this is incredible. You just don't see which angle this film is turning. But it must have been something like that for you, even with a writing process before. At least it gives you this feeling of being so much in the moment, and you just don't see anything coming without giving away anything.
Yeah. I mean, it happened so fast. Like that call was like in early July, and we were shooting in November, which like for a film, and he hadn't written it yet. So like for a film to get like written, financed, pre-production, and shot in like 3 or 4 months is like unheard of. And so there wasn't time to like overthink it, because like I knew I was like using my name, I was like making fun of everything I had built for myself, my whole livelihood basically. I was using my dick in it, like I was having real sex, like it was kind of, I think if I had more time to think about what I was doing, I probably would have been more scared. But because it happened so fast, I was like, just like jumped right into it and just had to trust it. And I'm happy I did, because I love the film so much.
It's fantastic.
It is.
We're playing it on CSD Day here in Munich next week.
Christopher Street
really?
Day.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, the
my-
premiere's actually on
Yeah.
the Munich Christopher Street
Okay.
Day, so it would have been amazing to have you there as well, because it's going to be a blast.
Oh.
But we'll send you pictures and
Yeah,
maybe a
please.
video.
Yeah, get all the gays. I heard the Munich gays are kind of like old school.
I think they are, because I mean, like
Someone
in the
said that to me.
70s. No, but I think it's true, because I mean, in the 70s and 80s, the scene was
Totally.
huge.
Yeah.
Because Munich was so avant-garde and it was so open-minded.
Yeah.
And I mean, word on the street is it's a little on the conservative side now, but of course it's not. I mean, our festival is happening.
Yeah,
We definitely send you all the reactions. That's for sure.
Okay, good.
That's
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
Oh wow, Jordan, it's been a pleasure to talk to you. Really,
Yes,
that you
thank
took
you
your time.
guys.
And we can tell you have a huge fan base here in Munich.
Oh, I love that.
I don't know if you knew that, but you do.
I didn't
You
know
do
that.
have-
I didn't know that at
Yeah.
all.
It is true. I mean, your impressions make it to Germany and people love it.
Cool. I love that.
We're
I
sending
love
each
to hear
other
it.
your impressions every day, basically.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
thanks for
that's
everything.
so sweet. Thank you guys so much. Yeah, let me know how it goes.
We will. Thanks so much
Okay.
for taking the time.
Yeah, of course.
This was Jordan Firstman.
Jordan Firstman on
Mm.
What's Up here at Filmfest Munich with Julia Weigl and Christoph Gröner. Go to the cinema. Festival is starting on the 23rd. Rotting in the Sun on the 24th. Thank you so much again, Jordan. And bye.
Thank you. Bye.